You know, recently I did something which I have not, I forgot all about, but I did it and I found it to be most fascinating. And I want you to do this as well. There was a movie years ago, a documentary called Loose Change. It's Dylan Avery, I believe. And it was I remember it was one of the most fascinating of pieces of information and data that I have ever seen. I remember the time it just blew me away. Absolutely incredible. The most incredible, it was, I think the operative word here is incredible. It defined incredible. It was incredible. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Couldn't believe it. And the thing that I remember about this was that it wasn't Dylan Avery. I think his name was Dylan Avery. It wasn't him just saying, "Oh, this is what I believe." This is, they found this passport here. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. What it was, and what was interesting, what it was the interviews of people. Do you remember this? It was the people who were there, the people who spoke, the people who said, yes, I was here, the firemen, those individuals who were talking specifically about what it was that they saw as it was occurring, people near and at and in the Pentagon. And then later on, hearing the people and what they really said. One of them was, do you remember the fellow who, it was an African-American gentleman. He was a cab driver. He was near the Pentagon. And supposedly, as people say, had his car hit by a plane, by one of the I think it was Flight 77, one of the planes that hit. He was hit by a plane. Now, let me just tell you this. This was at the time. And there was they had a bent light pole, a little bit of the grass or the turf that was leading up to this particular Navy side happened to come in. Do you remember this? And I'm only talking about what he said, not what somebody else said he said, but what he said. And he said, there I was, and all of a sudden I hear this loud noise and bang. And I got in my car and it was gone. I didn't see anything. I said, wait a minute, what? You didn't see anything? Wait a minute, you just told me you got hit by a plane. He goes, it just... Now, when I tell you that story, most probably people would say, oh, so therefore it was a missile. See, you're going to fill in the blanks. You're going to do it. You're going to say, oh, therefore. I think, no, you let the witness testify. You let the witness, just let him say. Let the jury figure out. Let them say, well, that's weird. That's odd. There were people inside the Pentagon, people there with a microphone there, not somebody telling you, this is what I think happened, saying, well, we didn't see any plane in here. I'm thinking, wait a minute, hold it. How many people know that? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Take it from me, I know a little bit about this. There's nothing more compelling than that. Nothing. Not to have somebody sitting in the basement of their parents' home. Not somebody in a beanbag chair, with a wife beaters, that old expression, and a covered in Cheeto dust, giving you and so therefore, because everybody loves the therefore. You don't need the therefore. You don't need the therefore. Let the jury, let the people, let them say, wow. Let them hear this. Give them the facts. Don't give them your fecund fertile imagination. Give you another example. One of the most important interviews. This is one where you have got to see it. This is, what is his name? Sund, or what is his name? It's one of the best ones ever. What's his name? Sund, I believe it is. Sund. Stephen Sund. Did you see that? Did you see that? Tell me you saw that. Tell me you saw that. This was textbook greatness. Tell me you saw that. Tell me you saw it. Tell me you saw it. And he was perfect because he let the witness answer. And he let the witness just tell you what he knew. Did you know? Did you hear this? Honey, you're going to love this. According to Mr. Sund, how do I say this? The New Jersey State Police, apparently they sent a contingent. The New Jersey State Police got there before the Capitol Police, or it was. And Tucker said, wait a minute, this is a 60 Minutes technique, because they just repeat everybody. Wait a minute. The New Jersey? Yes. Well, did you ask for support? Yes. Who said no? Nancy Pelosi. Not why did she do it? Not why, but did she? Yes. Here's one for you. Ray Epps. I think he's suing Rogan or whatever. Has he been charged? According to this piece with Tucker and others, no. Wait a minute. Stop right there. Because you're going to forget about it. When I say you, I mean we collectively. This is the most important stuff you can get. Don't feel, now let me tell you, let me stop, and let me tell you the way that story will be told by somebody on Twitter, or somebody who is and I'm going to use this term just for shorthand, is our beloved conspiracist, the people that we love, the people who go a little bit too far, who fill in all the blanks. It's not for them to say, and the reason why they will say, because Ray Epps is a federal agent who, whatever. Not. And that was very funny because Ray Epps was not charged with anything. And here's Ray Epps saying, blah, blah, blah. That's different than saying, because he is a federal agent. When I say you, they love that. They love to fill in the blanks because you're an idiot if you do that. You don't need to do that. Let the people, they're smart. Let them say what? And you know what's even more interesting? As of today, and I checked, I don't even think he's been charged like he said he was going to be charged, because one of the things that people said about him was, well, isn't it odd that he wasn't charged? Well, they just announced they're going to charge me. Follow up? Anybody follow up on that? No. Maybe he is. I don't know. Please do the research. But you do not say, so therefore, so that maybe somebody's going to like your video and you'll get bigger numbers because you're filling in all the blanks. Because therefore, you don't know that therefore. You don't need it. Tucker Carlson was brilliant. Just let people say, let the cab driver say, and this plane that hit and this is your car? Yeah. Where'd the plane hit it? Right there. This dent on the top of your car, that's it? Yes. A plane hit this. Stop. You don't have to tell the jury, the witness, or the audience. You don't have to do this. Did you know? Let me give you one story. In New York, there was a place. I don't know the year. New York City. It was a Muslim center. It was April 27th, 2013. Police question how plane part ended up in an alley next to a planned mosque. Police say they're not ruling out the possibility that a 5-foot-long chunk of airplane debris found near it, I believe it, could have been placed there deliberately. In 2013, there was a piece of airline debris. It was either a wheel or something, and it was believed to be part of a landing gear from one of the planes that hit the World Trade Center. And I want you to imagine this. Just hear me out. You have two buildings, and there was a little, I don't know, a space between them. The buildings were not abutted, but there was a space between the two. And you could, I don't know how far it was, but there was a planned mosque center that was being planned. It was a big deal. Downtown Manhattan. And then one day somebody said, hey, this is in 2013, 12 years after 9/11. Somebody said, hey, look, between these two buildings, there's this wheel assembly. And it supposedly, as you would say, flew over, I guess, broke off, dropped, fell, I don't know. Follow me now. Floated down and landed between two buildings. You would have had to have been on top of it, eyeing this thing to drop it perfectly so that it can fall. It was the most preposterous story ever. 2013, I just read, this was the NBC story here in New York. This is when I realized people were crazy. This is when I realized people just believe anything. There's no critical thinking. Let me tell you what our friends would do in the beanbag chair. Obviously, they would say it was planted. Obviously, it was there to create the illusion. But obviously, they say they have to tell you the punchline. They have to explain the joke. Knock, knock, who's there? See, knock, knock, I'm not really knock, knock. We know that. We know that. Or explaining puns, or they have to do this because all their life, I'm convinced they wanted to be taken very seriously. And this is a chance for them to do it. They want to seem smart. They really do. But they ruin it because they tell you, instead of letting you say, oh my God, they have to tell you. If there were to be movie directors, there would be it'd be like a Bertolt Brecht movie with somebody walking across with a sign that says, I mean, it's just incredible. And instead of saying, in this particular case, and oddly enough, do you want to know where this was found? It was found between these two buildings that are, I don't know how many feet tall, and fell from the sky and landed between this space that is barely wide enough to even hold this assembly. Fell from the plane, and it was missed by people who walk by here every single day for 12 years. Wow. You let them do it. And Ray Epps, maybe, I don't know, was not arrested like they said he was. And again, I'm telling you what I read today where somebody else said. That was the best thing ever. It was the best. It was so. Go back to 9/11 coverage and find out about passports that they find intact. Things like that. Just go back and let the audience figure this. Don't tell them what it means. Don't explain to them, how is it that something that is contained in a plane, maybe in a briefcase, in a wallet, on somebody's person, in clothing, in a plane, that flies and then is incinerated. How does something made of paper and plastic, a passport, let's say, how do you throw it out as it's going into a plane? How do you throw it out and let it land? Okay, you don't even have to go into detail. But you don't say, therefore, it was planted, or therefore it's not real, or therefore. You don't have to do it. Let people hear this and say, I never knew that. Yep. Do you know that for years when they said the Gulf of Tonkin story was a conspiracy theory, do you know that during an NSA cable or whatever, that it actually was that's where it was finally admitted to? Did you know that? I didn't know that. Yep. Why didn't they tell me that? That's a good question. Why didn't they tell me that? I don't know. Our world is filled with this. I saw for the millionth time, I think I told you, I'm not sure, I can't tell. I did a brand new, as you know, I do this, which is wonderful, and I love you for this, and I appreciate you being with us. And by the way, I love the fact that you're always a part of this. You like the video, subscribe to the channel, promote our great friends at MyPillow. Use a promo code Lionel and get a free gift, or call 800-645-4965. But as you know, I do another channel, which is a little bit more, shall we say, brutal. And I spent some time on this. And I was here on September the 11th and know more about that than you could ever, than most people. Only because I just lived it. It changed my life. It was the most important thing. Do you know, to this day, 22 years ago, soon to be 22 years ago, I cannot tell you, nor do I know, nor do I have a clue, other than the official story which was given, who was responsible, who orchestrated it, who gave the orders, who was involved, who was a part of the conspiracy, I can tell you all of the things that don't make any sense, but I can't tell you that because there's no evidence of it. Nobody has yet to say, I did it. I mean, you have hunches, but it kind of stops right there. When I was 5 years old in 1963, JFK, the assassination, I saw it. Changed my life. To this day, neither I nor Bobby Kennedy, Bobby may know a little bit more because he's privy to things, but have I seen anybody that says it's this person? I've got my suspects. I would start with Alan Dulles, and I would, but I still don't. There's no. The biggest con story ever is the Manson story. That one will blow your mind. You get involved in that one, and it will blow your mind. I don't know who does what. Now, let me explain something to you. And this is the most important. The reason why I'm going through this again is right now we have the chance. We have some very smart people out there. We need to have something called a Russell Tribunal. Russell Tribunal was in the 60s. What was it, 70? No, it wasn't the 60s. It was 70. The Russell Tribunal was, look this up, it was 2 sessions in 1966 and 1967, even before the war was over with. And the aims of it, the aims of this was, says we, the We constitute ourselves a tribunal which, even if it has not the power to impose sanctions, will have to answer, amongst others, the following questions. Has the United States government and the governments of Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea committed acts of aggression according to international law? Has the American Army made use of or experimented with new weapons or weapons hidden by the laws of war? Have Vietnamese prisoners been subjected to inhuman treatment? And it went through this thing, and it put together the most blue chip of group of people. Oh my God, the Wolfgang Abendroth, Tariq Ali, Gunter Anders, Mehmet Ali Abar, AJ Ayer, James Baldwin, former president of Mexico, Stokely Carmichael, Cortland Cox, Lawrence Daly, general secretary. And you could argue about the worth of each individual person, but they got together and they didn't just opine. They didn't just create these. Well, you see, the reason why is because you see Nancy Pelosi and her husband, because they're socialists and they're Marxists, are pursuant to an Agenda 2030 or an Agenda 21, a globalist plan to repopulate and to destroy, what? Now, not that there's no, there's the rudiments of something to this, but what are you talking about? The Maui case screams for investigation. Screams. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We need to find out what happened. We need to find out ignition points, spread. How does this happen? We need forensic pathologists, and that's arsonists, fire scientists. We need the best, the brightest, and the smartest. That's what we need. That's what we need. Not some fat guy sitting there in his home, that's right, covered in Cheeto dust, who takes this picture that he swears it's the same picture. It's this glow and this light pillar or this ray, and he says, and that's, sure enough, that's it. Directed energy weapons, that's it. And the reason why is because of Agenda 2030 and globalists, because they just realized it's been there forever. But they just realized this. Same thing with Northern California. In order to create this high-speed rail or something, you got to get people out. So the best way is to burn them out. And that sounds pretty good. Globalists and these neat weapons, and they just say this. Is there any evidence of this? None. It's conjecture, it's speculation, it's a theory. Evidence of it? None. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. That story's going nowhere because it's already been contaminated by the nuts. And just spend some time. Just go on Twitter and just look at these people. Listen to the certitude. Listen, they're the ones who would destroy it. And if I didn't know, but you don't need kind of agents, provocateurs. You just have people who come along and they say it with such certitude. I had somebody one time, very smart person, tell me that she truly believed that Donald Trump was sent by God, that Donald Trump was on some kind of I don't know what you want to call it, Pegasus horse. I don't know. I have no idea. The stuff that, and it's not because they're crazy. She's not psychotic. But it's grandiose. It's beyond grandiose. And then you get these sleuths who get started into this thing. And they're lumped into this conspiracy theory thing. It's like, wait a minute, no, wait. Now that might be. And this is the part that got me. This is the one that got me. The other day we're doing a live chat and somebody says, you don't understand, directed energy weapons work. I'm saying that's not the issue. You don't even know. You still don't understand the issue. Nobody says it doesn't work. Ask somebody this. Why? I ask people why. Why do you think? This is the best one. Why does it appear that people like Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum. Why do you think these people want to ban or get rid of the consumption of meat? Sit back and watch this. Why do you think that is? Why? Why is there such a proliferation? There always has been, but not like this, of human trafficking. Why? This gets really good. Why do you think fentanyl is coming from China into Mexico into this? Why? Why do you think that crime is on the upswing? Why do you think some of our most beautiful large cities have been subjected to this horror? Why? And sit back and watch what happens. You know what happens? The argument for the why becomes the subject of the argument. Instead of you saying, oh, I don't know why Klaus Schwab has a beef with beef, but this is what they said. Next. No, instead you're going to say, you see, this is a part of a socialist, globalist world. You sound like Alex Jones now. You get into this stuff. It's part of a globalist world. And then you're off to the races. And instead of arguing whether it actually happens, they're going to stop and they're going to start asking you and arguing with you questions with you about whether, this is important, whether this is actually true or not. Do you think that's the reason why? Excuse me, now we're on. Why do you think? Why did they kill President Kennedy? Oh, because he wanted to get off the gold standard. And well, that was actually Nixon. And because he was going to split the CIA into 1 million pieces. Is that really the reason why? Is that the reason why? Well, it's because of Dulles. Is that the reason why? And instead of looking at the forensic evidence, now we're talking about, well, why? And then we get caught up in the why. Why? We're going to get stuck with this. And the same thing's going to happen with this. I told you, I saw this Miranda Devine. Miranda Devine. You know what they're going to have in her statue? God forbid, the day she passes away? Miranda Devine. Nobody gave a damn about the laptop from hell. She calls it the laptop from hell. And I guess that means something. I guess maybe that has some kind of comedic meaning to it. Somebody's supposed to understand what that means. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody cares about it. It's a waste of time. Because these people, these folks, if you can just do me a favor, just spend 5 minutes, less than that. Just read the titles. Don't even watch it. Go to the Fox News channel on YouTube. Don't even watch them. Just look at the titles. Laptop. Give me an example. Don't make me do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it just for you. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Miranda Devine. Whistleblowers are setting something on. Judge Janine explodes. Boy, she's got some work. Judge Janine explodes on Hunter Biden special counsel. Explodes. Jesse Waters. Biden's DOJ is shopping for a judge. Really? Laura Ingraham. Biden froze during New Mexico speech. Greg Gutfeld. Other networks are too scared to cover this. Hannity. This is their new strategy to shield big government. Do you see what's happening? Ingram. Americans feel despondent and left behind. Jesse Waters. This will be buried in the Hunter Biden. Jonathan Turley. Garland may have fueled calls for a Biden's. This is just nothing. It's this. Remember the old days? Remember the days of John L. Sullivan? They were going, why you? And they was like, what is this? It was just like, I don't really want to fight you. It's like the Elon Musk Zuckerberg fight. They're going to fight? They're going to fight? What is this? What is that? What is this? But it's the greatest work ever. I don't know if it's never going to happen. It's just, they must just sit back and say, this is just great. We're wasting our time. Breaking, Attorney General Garland appoints Hunter Biden special counsel. Do you know why the special counsel means something? Do you know why? Do you know why? Has anybody told you that? Do you understand why that is? No. Do you understand that? No. Because it's kind of dry. We need to find out. We need to go through this is what we need to do. We need to go through the population, our population of listeners. We need to pull out the adults, pull out the smart people, pull out the people who really know what the hell's going on. Pull them out. Form our own, kind of our own Russell tribunal. And somehow explain to people what it is that people need to pay attention to. It's almost like a new form of I don't know what you want to call it, news or something, where people will say, wow. Because none of these people care about motivating anybody. It's just about numbers. I want people out there to say, that's a great question. I didn't know that. Really? That's what I want. I don't want to ask people, do you ever notice that? Do you ever think about that? Why is that? Why is that? When you keep changing the bandage, you know what I mean, or the hospital, people say, do I need this band? Why do I have a band? What is it? It's just this. It's this ceremony. Oh, it comes a nurse, gotta change the bandage. Okay. Gotta change the bandage. Why do we need the band? I don't know. We just, okay, fine. I know. That's it. Remember when Bobby Kennedy spoke and it was Emma Jo Morris and others? What happened with that story? Remember weaponizing? Remember that? Remember the big tribunal about do you know how big that story was? Weaponizing, when the federal government actually goes to social media and tells them to turn people off. That is as direct a violation of the First Amendment that you will ever get. So critical. Whatever happened with that? Nothing. It didn't go anywhere. It never went anywhere. Do you understand how critical that is? It never went anywhere. Tell me one thing. Do me one. Tell me one Republican victory. One victory. Tell me one moment of gotcha. Tell me when. Where are the... Tell me anything. Tell me any victory, anything. I'll tell you two things. One is when Ron DeSantis fired the prosecutor, second state attorney in Orange County, for basically being one of these Soros lackeys. That was great. He did Andrew Warren in Tampa and this one. So, but can you think of anything? No. Can you think of anything? No. Do you understand this? You see what they're doing to Bobby Kennedy Jr., right? This is the most important thing in the world. And the people that are so critical, so important. Watch that Tucker Carlson interview with the son, the Capitol Police. It's incredible. You know what will happen with that? Nothing. You think Jim Jordan's going to do something? No. Because each of them, they meet, and this is just, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm saying it's as though they said, okay, Jimmy, you and Comer, here's what you're going to do. We're going to let you go this far when it comes to Biden, okay? No further. Got it? Okay, good. Mitch McConnell, you're going to be over here. By the way, anybody talking about Mitch McConnell's health anymore? No. What about Dianne Feinstein? She's fine. What about Fetterman? He's fine. Anybody talk about Joe? No. Nothing. And you will see these moments of great, this. Did you see the other day? We've got the whistleblower. It's over with now. You know that, right? It's done. It's over. Nothing happened. Nothing is happening. And the people that we need the following. This is what would be the greatest television ever. Get a big room, big, like a big, almost like those old Warner Brothers sound stages. And we get people from Lahaina and from Maui, and we come in there, firefighters, people who live there say, tell me what you think. Mick Fleetwood, tell me what you think. Tell me what they told you. Tell me about your warning. Tell me when you knew something was up. What were the first signs? What happened? Did you notice anything? Did you notice anything in the sky? Did you see any blue lights or streams of light or lasers? Or let's get that out of the way. Anybody? Did anybody see those? And you were there, right? Did you hear helicopters, black helicopters, people? Did you see people wearing? Did you see anything? That we need to have one group of people here, one group, in one group, and maybe a very long form. Tell me what you saw. I'm not asking you about Agenda 2030 or anything. Just tell me what you saw. And you know what? You might find out nobody saw anything. It just was a fire. And you're going to have to ask yourself, do I extrapolate on that, or do I say, well, maybe next time? If you don't have proof, don't even bother with this. But I want to hear these people. What did you hear? You should hear the 9/11 folks, what they said that day. Remember at 5:20 p.m. when Building 7 fell, and it was Rudy Giuliani or somebody said, "Come on, we got to get out." Why? They say we're gonna not the Larry Silverstein pull it thing. Remember that one? Anyway, this was more like they say the building's gonna fall. Why would it fall? Because debris hit it from 9 o'clock in the morning, starting a fire. So what? This is the building, 47, 48 stories. So what? It takes fires. There were fires in 1973 on floors, and there were fires. Did you know that in the World Trade Center? Of course, there's fires. Yeah, it happens. There was one in that famous that burned for 17 hours. It stayed there though. Anyway, remember that? No, we got to play this for you. I'm going to let them tell you what they heard. Just let people say these things. Talk about how firemen saw like steel, like you saw that. I'm not making this up. This was the quote was like a foundry. That's the way you let people make up their mind. But you're never going to hear that regarding Maui. You're never going to hear that. You're going to have somebody come in. They're going to go look at this, look at the B-roll, and then you're going to have the people on YouTube or on Twitter or Rumble or whatever it is, and they're going to just come up with this stuff like it's like it's guaranteed. Of course, Of course, this is. There was a woman who said, "Of course, this is direct energy weapons. Look at it." It's like, what do you do? How do you know this? I know people in the military, pretty good stuff. They said, I've never seen a direct energy. I know they're there, but why do you need this to start a fire? What is it like? You get this blue light and what? The laser will ignite what? Grass? You don't need that. You want to start a fire? It's easy. It just happens. It's fast. Nobody's doing any forensics. What's going on here? You don't have to make stories sound even more unbelievable. And right now, let me tell you what's happening. Because there is such competition for metrics, for new people on the world of this, you've got to just turn it up and scream and yell and just put on everybody. Do you know that? Side note, remember when the mafia stories came out? It was Sammy the Bull, Michael Franzese, all these stories about, we're finally going to tell you what happened, who did what, the maid guy, who was a rat, you're a rat, this one, Mikey Scars, Fat Andy, all of these. I've heard every story 30 times. 30 times. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. He's a rat. He's a rat. They've killed us. What are you going to hear? Sammy the Bull is telling stories that weren't even, he was John Wilkes Booth. I'll tell you about him. John Wilkes Booth. I'm making this up. They've milked this and dried it out. There's nobody to talk about anymore. They've mentioned literally, I think, everybody who's ever been in organized crime. Bat Masterson, did I tell you about him? Okay. So they have to move on. And when people have to move on, they get creative. And when they get creative, they get dangerous because they start having to do things just to crank it up. And I'm telling you, the Maui story is so fascinating, but we're never going to get to the bottom because people are not going to let us get to it because they're so involved in this. They want to talk about death rays that we're never going to get to it. And the bad folks, if they do have something to hide, are loving this because of this. And they know they're going to do it. They know they are going to do it. Do you understand this? And no matter what happens, I tell people and I ask people, but nobody cares. If you believe that something is so, tell us the proof. That's all. There is one, I'm not going to mention her name. There's a woman who was such a dingbat. Said things that hurt the cause of human trafficking more than anyone. But people would say, well, this is fantastic. Have you seen her? And I can bring up, and I can say, the chimeric rate of gay frogs caused by neoprene in the river systems, brought to you by panspermia, where foreign travelers actually spread life through panspermia millennia ago through gay frogs. And if I say something and you're going to say, did you see this? And you're going to forward my video because you're going to say, did you hear the guy about the gay frogs? Yeah, I'll send it to you. And it's just like that. And next thing you know, that number goes up. And it's not worth, you're not saying, well, it's very interesting. Very thorough. Oh, no. It's because it's interesting. One time we went to a 9/11 symposium. And Richard Gage, by the way, who was on with Patrick Ben-David, which is very interesting. That's gonna, I don't know if enough time has elapsed. When he was on C-SPAN one time, that was incredible too. But they were talking about something. It was very, very scholarly. Now I like that. That to me does the most good, but that's not gonna. Somebody sent me the other day, again, to give you an idea. Somebody sent me a video again of showing direct energy weapons and 9/11 with a drawing, kind of a graphic pointing to, and notice this. Look at this antenna. See, that's directed energy weapons. Wait a minute, that's. And you see, because trinitro cycloxane causes cancer. See? Wait a minute. How? Well, it just does. I heard somebody one time say, sugar. Have you ever heard diet stuff on YouTube? Seed oils now is the worst thing anybody's ever done. Seed oil. Somebody told me the other day, cholesterol has nothing to do with coronary artery disease. I said, LDL levels? Nothing. What? And they're confusing cholesterol in the food with cholesterol in the blood. And anyway, make a long story short, it just. Now, let me explain something. I want to do nothing to ever change. I think you should be able to, if you think that dung beetles causes, you should be able to say whatever you want. It's up to me to either accept it, refute it, reject it, whatever it is. But I think you should be able to say whatever you want. But we are filled with a lot of people out there who love excitement. They've never gotten into this before. They've never liked news, and they've never liked things like election results and history and things like, the 1960 election. Okay. They're not into that. The battle of, Antietam. No. The gold standard. No. No. They're into other stuff. They're into things like Overton window. Ooh, I like that. What's that? And one thing about what Alex Jones did, and he is to be heralded and credited and held to the highest standard. He brought, when he first, I'd say 20 years ago, it was the best radio or TV or whatever you want to call it I've ever heard. Because when this story was this, there was no yelling and screaming, no need for that. Now, that may be okay for you. To me, that's like, it's not going to work. Not going to be taken seriously, but it's entertaining. It's entertaining. But he would show, this is the story, and he would show, this is the story. I remember one time he talked about people listening to you on cable boxes. And I know on your phones, you're listening to constantly. You get ads, you get whatever it is. Or all of a sudden you go, hey, there's a picture of someone. I was just mentioning her, that kind of thing. So, but this was 20 years ago. And it wasn't just that he said it. I think it was Comcast or something. He showed some document. It was fantastic. His documentaries were terrific. He brought up scholars like Carol Quigley, Tragedy and Hope. His 9/11 stuff was incredible. He talked about GMOs. It was wonderful. It was and it wasn't just him sitting there. He didn't just say it. He had, here's the story. And it wasn't a website, like a website from somebody in a dorm room. It was terrific. And they didn't, I don't know what happened. When David Knight was on, David Knight's fascinating. Again, a little bit of, it's like listening to music, a little bit of this, a little bit of jazz. Wonderful. Did Alex's, did Owen, whatever, did he plead? I don't know what happened. I don't know what his story was. The whole January 6th stuff. I don't know if he was even there. It says in June, he pled guilty. He shouldn't do any time. I don't know what happened. I don't know when sentencing is. Remember that one? It's the most, I don't know what he did. Scheduled September the 12th. September the 12th. Okay, good. Anyway, those were times when it was just utterly fascinating. And it was seeing new people and new voices. And it just, a lot of people said, oh, I can do that. And then because he was the trailblazer. He was it. He was there first. Alex Jones, you can say, you call him crazy. He was there first. And now it's just, what are you going to do? How do you even compete with this? How do you compete? I don't know. It's great. It's wonderful. You have other things too. There's rumble and this and poop shooting, bit shooting. I believe in a proliferation of all kinds of news. However, maybe I haven't made this clear. Entertainment is one thing, which is great. I want there to be change. I want this to inspire governmental change. Do you know what recalled, what was responsible for recalling the Corvair? It was Ralph Nader, Unsafe at Any Speed. Sinclair Lewis, the Upton Sinclair rather. The Jungle changed stockyards and meat processing. Critical. Silent Spring, Rachel Carson. Absolutely. Edward R. Murrow. In the old days, before You Are Here, or whatever it was, maybe it was You Are Here, the conditions of, entertainment, news is entertainment, because there's nothing more entertaining than truth. He changed everything. That's what I want to change. And I'm telling you right now, we're not going to get to the bottom of Maui and Lahaina if we have a bunch of people talking about death rays, because they're just not going to listen to you. You understand that? They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to you. And the same thing happened. The same thing happened during the COVID price. And I know people to this day who started talking about Bill Gates, nanotechnology. They started talking about 5G being utilized along with metallic nano. And it's like, you know what? That would be very interesting. But they had no basis for it. They just said it because they heard it. And as they talked, they sounded crazy. And they kind of get out of breath. And then people said, oh, God, here we go. And there was something to it, but they destroyed it. Because their overdone enthusiasm just made everybody think you're out of your mind. You're a nut. Oh, couldn't you see, for example, a science fiction movie where somebody, by virtue of something that you ingest, something that gets into your system, either deliberately, wittingly, unwittingly, whatever, changes the chemistry, changes the metallic, let's say, structure of your blood work, and then something like 5G or 6G or whatever the next does something and basically wipes people out? As science fiction, you don't think that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I don't have any proof of that. I'm not going to go in and tell you they're going to do that. And there's all these people. Who are the people who are always bad? Think about this. Write down. If I said to you, I want to write a story and I want to apply or to approach the conspiracist group that you're familiar with, would you tell me who would be the list of bad guys? Who would you put? Bill Gates, number one. Klaus Schwab, George Soros. Who else? Elon. No, he's a good guy. But who are the Zuckerberg? Okay, who else? Who are the bad guys? Who are in the conspiracist realm? Who are the bad guys? Ted, whatever is it from the World Health Organization? I forget his name. Some Nancy Pelosi's. But I mean, who are the evil people? Oh, Fauci. Thank you. Oh, Fauci. Elon is I don't trust Elon at all. Oh, brain chips, RFID chips. We've been talking about RFID chips forever. Look at this. Look at John Smith. Look what John Smith writes. He goes, love to Mrs. L and all members here in the Conspiratorium chat room for spreading truth. Damn right. Thank you, Johnny boy. The Rothschilds, of course. I used to always like the notion of central banksters. Before that, it was Rumsfeld. Remember world banking? Who was it? Rumsfeld. Who was the guy? Richard Pearl. Remember the neocons? Sam Harris. Sam Harris is the biggest. Sam Harris will not give anybody. By the way, that's not a bad guy. That's more of a. Sam Harris is in the Jordan Peterson kind of world to me. I just have nothing to do with him. Nothing to. I just see that. I just turn it off. Portnoy, Jordan Peterson, your girlfriend, Candace Owen. We don't have time for that. Just don't have. Guy, go far and prosper. No interest whatsoever. Oh, Brian Greene. Brian Greene has hit complete critical mass. He is the physicist. Absolutely done with this. Larry Fink, they haven't really, BlackRock stuff. So what I'm saying is, and I'm going to leave you with this. Very, very simple. Listen carefully. Listen specifically to what you know and how do you know what you know. Somebody said, well, the Raytheon death row. Okay, show me where that is. Can you show me where that is? Well, I can't show you. Well, then forget it. No, but I know. No, you don't know. Show me something. Show me where it is. Alex Jones used to do this. If he told you, if he said the Raytheon death ray, here it is, and he would show you the story and whatever, at least something. You just can't anecdotally spread less than hearsay. Mrs. L right now, follow her on Twitter at Lynn's Warriors right there. That's the banner, and YouTube at Lynn's Warriors as well. A good and great and noble person. By the way, don't forget to follow me at Twitter at Lionel Media. I can't call it X. I can't. I can't do it. And don't forget to, of course, like us and follow us. And don't forget our great friends, our great and wonderful, terrific friends. Where are they? Where are they? Hang on a minute. I love our My Pillow friends. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm telling you I'm sorry, but I love these folks, and I love these. There we go. There we go. My Pillow. Use promo code Lionel. Receive a free gift. I love that free gift. Go to mypillow.com/Lionel or call 800-645-4965. That's all. That's it. Now remember, I'm going to break you of your habit. You stick with me, and in less than 2 months, you're going to be going to people and say, do you have any proof of that? Yeah. Do you have any? Can you give me that citation? Hey, Jerry, I saw you tweeted something about the Raytheon General Dynamics death ray. Yeah. Can you send me some information on that, please? What? That thing you tweeted, can you send me on the death ray? Well, I don't know. Well, then stop saying it. You're making us look like idiots. You understand this? That's like there are people, and by the way, I'm going to say something right now. There are people in the human trafficking, most of them women, sorry to say this, who got on this thing about pedophiles. They love it. They say it a little too much, and they sound like nuts. They sound like they're crazy. Most human trafficking is taking place on your phones. That's where your kids are being trafficked. And nobody wants to hear that because that's not exciting. And by the way, Sound of Freedom, wonderful movie. What about the trafficking that goes on in this country? We always forget our country. I don't know why. We always talk about, the great. Hey, it's wonderful to have things like, all this adoption is wonderful. What about American kids? I'm not going to adopt an American kid. Why not? All right, remember something. Listen to me very carefully. I love you. I honestly love you. You're a great group of people. You mean well. You are so focused. You're passionate. And I cannot tell you how much I respect this. We're going to fine-tune our collective way of thinking because I want to win. I don't want to do things just for the hell of it. I want there to be a movement, and I want to just traverse that blood-brain barrier between the usual suspects and truth. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. See you tonight. Tonight will be at, tonight might be a little bit later. Tonight, I don't know. We may not be on tonight. I might take tonight off. This is all in my mind. You know what? I think we're going to I think we should have a little night out. And by the way, remember one thing. This month, birthday month, 65 years old, expect a lot of parades and fanfare. This is the only birthday I've ever even cared about. I just love saying that. I love saying that. Medicare, senior citizens discounts, and I can turn to all my high school friends and say, what the hell happened to you? So boring. But not me. Not me. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you later. See you probably tomorrow. I'm going to see you tomorrow in terms of this live stuff. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.